Hello everybody and welcome back to the RORSRPS channel. My name is Preston Vieira. It's been a little while since RORSRPS Season 1 came to a close, but it's a new year, and for Season 2 in 2024, you're going to take the ride with me to finish qualifying all of our 48 main field competitors through the Spin Master Showdown Qualifier. Each episode will have two 16-truck racing-only events, and our winners of each bracket will be our qualifiers into Season 2. In our Season 1 World Finals, the winners of Racing, Two-Wheel Skills, and Freestyle have pre-qualified into Season 2. So if you missed the World Finals, head over to my channel to check out our reigning champs and our first three qualifiers. You have a second now to do that, otherwise, fair warning, they will be spoiled once our racing begins. Not every episode will have intros this long, but before we get started with the all-new qualifying event format, let me break it down a little bit just to let you know what you're in for. Over on Instagram for about the last month, I've been asking for truck requests once a week, and here's where those will come into play. Things are going to be pretty different for the qualifying events. Most trucks tonight are all requests, but soon we'll be mixing in requests with trucks getting reattempts and all new trucks chosen by wheel spin. We'll have two potential wheels to spin, the reuse wheel holding trucks that have already made an attempt here at this qualifier, and the full list wheel, which holds the entirety of my rigs of rods selection by zip file name. All of our racing brackets, including the one you're about to see, will all also be randomized, and you'll get to see that happen for yourself in just a minute. I understand this may be confusing all at once right now, but just like the Season 1 confusion got cleared up, this will too once you see it come to full realization in a couple episodes. Now remember, we already have 3 trucks pre-qualified, so we now have 45 spots left to fill. Also, be sure to check the description because I'll be keeping track of our trucks and some light stats throughout the qualifying window on a Google Doc. You can check that out when you have time if interested. For now, let's take a look at our first lineup for tonight and get started so you can get a feel for qualifying. As I said, this is tonight's lineup, and here's the randomization process. We're going to shuffle the seeds 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. And that's what we're going to roll with for the qualifying brackets. We're going to do that every event just to get some random matchups and maybe have a little bit of fun. And kicking things off tonight, we're going to check out the bracket right here. Sly Cooper is going to take on 106.7 The Fox. Monster Mutt Dalmatian, first time we're seeing her on this channel. Sonic Heroes is back, looking to make an impression. Scarlet Bandit as well, taking on Shock Therapy. Rage is going to take on Captain USA. Bad Habit versus Axe. Monster Patrol will take on Saigon Shaker. Bob and Tom is taking on Terminal Velocity, taking a shot at getting in that main field once again. And then finishing off round 1, we got Gunslinger taking on Blue Thunder. Sort of the namesakes of this track. They are the thematic inspiration for the track paint here tonight. Sly Cooper over on your right, 106.7 The Fox on your left, and we're getting started with the first race of the night, blasting off of that starting line and heading up over that step up. That is going to get some of these trucks into some trouble if they're not careful. First time we're seeing either one of these trucks on the channel, and it's pretty interesting. Look at 106.7 The Fox already struggling a little bit, trying to get that truck under control. Huge sky wheelie. That is not going to help him in the race. Sly Cooper looking nice and clean. 106.7 The Fox rolls that truck over into the dumpster. Surprised they didn't shut him off, but he is going to get the chance to keep running. This is a very long race. This track has been showcased on this channel before. If you've seen it, you understand just how long this race is. You got a lot of time to make up mistakes if your opponent makes some mistakes. So we'll see what happens here as Sly Cooper heads onto the bridge here for the first time tonight. Nicely done. 106.7 The Fox, another big sky wheelie, but this isn't freestyle. That's not going to help him too much. Heading into this tunnel, Sly Cooper coming up short. Want to keep it nice and controlled through there, whether you come up short or try to downside into it. Either way, you really got to check up on that truck and make sure you're not going to either smack the roof or bounce off a wall. They will shut you down in that tunnel. Sly Cooper, that's something I want to point out right there. Sly Cooper took a nice, easy transition in that gap there. Some of these trucks are going to try and air it out, but it's something that you really got to evaluate your wrist. You know what I mean? 106.7 The Fox just did it right there. Was able to keep it on all fours, but if you smack that front face, you're in some trouble. So you got to watch out for sure. But look at this, Sly Cooper heading over the line for the first time tonight, taking that first spot in round 2, knocking out 106.7, the Fox. We will potentially see him again. These trucks, once they have taken an attempt here to qualify, they will get put on the reuse wheel, and they will get another attempt if they get landed on. So there is a high possibility that he could come back and potentially get a spot in season 2. But as it looks right now, Sly Cooper is in a better position for that. Dalmatian on your right now, taking on Sonic Heroes. Again, Sonic Heroes was here as a sub last season. We did see him on this channel before, and he did pretty well. Took our first sub win on the Sponsor Showdown Tour and managed to qualify into the World Finals and got to throw down there, although he did roll over in racing, round 1 of racing, I believe. So he's looking to redeem himself for sure. Sonic Heroes looking better than Monster Mutt Dalmatian through the first turn. Mutt clips that dumpster on the back end. Heading into the slalom, both of them looking better than that initial turn. That is something. Those are the pits of disqualification is what we call them, as we get around them and head up onto that starting elevation. If you end up down there, obviously your run is done. You cannot get up out of there. So you're pretty much done. You are done if you end up down there. You can kind of cut them a little bit and cross over them just a little, but you don't want to play with those. You fall in, you are done. Look at this. Sonic Heroes leads heading into the tunnel. He is going to come up short there. So is Monster Mutt Dalmatian, though. Monster Mutt clips the roof. They are going to let her keep running. She didn't, no real damage was done to her or the truck. So they're going to let her keep going. Heading up and over those speed bumps, getting into some trouble there over the rollers. Sonic Heroes headed through that turn. Monster Mutt Dalmatian going for the gap, getting into some trouble and going over. It does not look like she's going to be able to save that one. She is out. She was too far behind anyway. Sonic Heroes nice and clean to the finish. He's going to be heading into round 2, one step closer to grabbing a main field position here and redeeming himself from that World Finals loss. Not that he necessarily did bad, but, you always want to improve, right? These trucks head out. It is a long route back to the starting line. Check this out. Scarlet Bandit is back. Again, not necessarily the best racer we've had on the season, but in the World Finals, she ended up making it all the way up into the semifinals. She did well. So we'll see how she does tonight, if she can make it back into the season, and if she'll get another shot later on if she doesn't. Heading down over that jammer. Both trucks looking solid. Shock Therapy on your left, looking good. A bit smoother than Scarlet Bandit. Neither one of them really getting a great launch over that massive gap. First turn looking solid here. Not too far behind the Scarlet Bandit. She's looking to, make up some ground here. She really needs to put the pedal to the metal. Is not really doing that through those slaloms. Worried about potentially hiking up, I would assume, but Shock Therapy up onto starting elevation already. Scarlet Bandit getting tripped up there. Heading down towards the bridge. You really got to be careful with how you're landing on this bridge. If you end up too close to the cars, you will get that truck upset, not really have much room to correct it. You could end up upside down or even falling off. Heading into the tunnel now. Scarlet Bandit getting a much better transfer, but Shock Therapy seems to be a little... No, he's behind! Up and through those rollers, heading down into the dip. These guys are neck and neck here. Scarlet Bandit a slight lead, but she's going long to low. Shock Therapy's launching it, and it works for him. Still neck and neck, two different approaches to that turn. Scarlet Bandit comes out of it first, heading to this ramp and into the final turn. It is a close race. Scarlet Bandit goes a little wider. Shock Therapy pulling it nice and tight. Up and over the triple. These guys are neck and neck. It could go either way, but it's gonna be Shock Therapy advancing to round 2 narrowly, avoiding a loss to Scarlet Bandit. Not a bad race from either one of them. Scarlet Bandit may have taken a loss, but if she's back again soon, there's a shot. She has a shot at taking another main field position here in Season 2. Captain USA coming out next on your left, taking on Rage All season we had Rageaholic, but this time we're trying to get the OG Rage on the track. Heading up and over that step up. Both of them looking good. Rage going straight on a downside. Captain USA kind of rolling over that step up. It is designed for that, but Rage just really taking a risk there, and it pays off. Neither one of them really getting smooth landings on that massive gap there. Once again, nobody's really had a perfect run so far. Heading through these slaloms. It's really neck and neck on either side. Rage really letting that rear end slide around. Rage comes to the double roller first. Nice downside heading up onto starting elevation. Captain USA getting tripped up there. Cuts the turn a little short too. Clips the dumpster, gets up on two wheels, saves it. But that is not going to help his time at all. Rage getting into some trouble on the bridge, clipping that center divide. That is going to slow him down for sure. Giving Captain USA a shot if he can catch up. There is a nice gap between the two. Rageaholic, there it is. Rage getting into some trouble. I knew that was going to give me trouble. Just being used to a whole season of Rageaholic. Rageaholic did pretty well in season 1. So we'll see if Rage can make it in and do well as the counterpart and the continuance of the Rage name. Rage coming out of that final chicane, absolutely flooring it. Heading into the final turn, nicely done. Clipping that turning car, but nice, not getting into any trouble. And Captain USA is too far behind. It is not going to happen. Rage heads up and over the line, and that is going to do it, giving him that next spot in round 2. Captain USA done for tonight. We'll see if he can come back later on and try to redeem himself as well. Next up on the track, Bad Habit coming out on your right, rocking that old 2007 body. Axe on your left, hoping to join his 2 team screen mates on the that are already pre-qualified into the season. Our racing champion Megalodon Fire and our freestyle champion Avenger. I don't know why that name slipped my mind. He was the tour champion on the Custom Chaos Tour. Bad Habit coming up just short and is going to get him into trouble in the turn. Axe also in trouble. Bad Habit riding out that bicycle just for a second, setting it down. Axe is not too far behind. If he can really hold it together and make up some ground, he can. He does have a solid potential to knock out Bad Habit. Bad Habit really slinging that rear end, slows him down just a bit. Axe closing just a little. And that's all it takes. Little by little, over a long lap, you can regain the lead. Both trucks looking solid through that turn. Heading onto the bridge now. Nicely done. Really takes a lot of control here on that bridge. You don't have too much room for error. You either are going to end up in the center divide or falling off. You really got to keep that truck straight and make sure you're at the top of your game, to say the least. Both of them flying through the tunnel. Axe does reclaim the lead here. Heading up and over this roller. Bad Habit with an approach we haven't seen yet. Really airing that thing out, but it takes a toll on him. Slows him down for sure. Axe just widening that gap here in the final set of turns. Excuse me, I got distracted. Axe heading into the final turn already. Bad Habit still too far behind. It is gonna be Axe heading to the line first. Axe will get another shot at becoming a main field competitor here in just a little while when we come back for round 2. Bad Habit done for tonight. Spin Master Showdown is incredible. If you guys are enjoying tonight's show so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We got 45 more events. We got 20 or so shows to go here for the qualifying, and then we'll get into our actual season 2. Saigon Shaker now coming out on your left, Monster Patrol on your right. Both of them taking that downside approach, just absolutely launching over that step up. Looking for a smooth landing here. Nobody's really done it. Saigon Shaker with an incredible landing there. Downside, little transfer up and over. Monster Patrol getting trouble in the turn, but Saigon Shaker, not really the way you want to take that gap, but it does work out well for him. He does manage to handle it beautifully. and he's already back up in the lead thanks to Monster Patrol's big slip and the sort of caution that he has to take through those slaloms. Back up onto starting elevation. Monster Patrol with a massive sky wheelie again. That is not necessarily the goal here. You really want to try and flatland that thing on starting elevation because you don't have too much room to fall. It's not going to hurt too bad, and you can get back on the power. When you're on a wheelie, you got to either check up on the brakes or let that thing settle on its own, and that's going to take a lot of time off. Or add a lot of time on, I should say. Saigon Shaker clipping the wall. They are letting him keep running. That was not too bad of a hit, so he is going to hold on to that lead. Saigon Shaker is all over the place. Monster Patrol trying to make up some ground here. Saigon Shaker going for a ride up and over the nose and back on all 4 BKT tires. Monster Patrol trying to get caught up with him. Ends up on 2 wheels. What a save down in the bottom corner. Surprised they didn't shut him off for tapping that bottom corner dumpster there. But he's still running. Saigon Shaker free and clear to grab a win here. Monster Patrol just got to get across that line. What a race from Saigon Shaker. A couple of big mistakes, but just a nice solid gap on Monster Patrol. Too big of a gap for him to close in the end. Next up on the track, though, Bob and Tom. First time we're seeing this truck on the channel. Terminal Velocity on your left. He was a sub on the Custom Chaos Tour in Season 1. Looking to grab a main field position as we launch off of that starting line and up and over the step up. 2 different approaches there. Bob and Tom really airing it out. And Terminal Velocity getting a nice smooth roll over that step up. Look at this. Both of them getting in a little bit of trouble. Bob and Tom, closest thing to a perfect downside on that massive gap. Terminal Velocity did get into a little bit of trouble, but he manages to keep up, to say the least. He might even have a little bit of a lead here through the slalom. It is really neck and neck, though. Bob and Tom does end up coming out of it first. Up and over that double roller, looking for starting elevation. Nicely done. Terminal Velocity, a bit too much sky wheelie. Looking for a solid pass over the bridge and through the collapse sections. Trying to make up some time here. Struggling just a little. Not fast enough. Bob and Tom seems to be widening that gap here. Heading down. Getting into trouble in the tunnel. Both of them getting into trouble in the tunnel. Terminal Velocity does manage to make it out a little quicker, but he's still behind. Bob and Tom heading for the gap. And he does it. Bob and Tom clears it. The first one to get a perfect landing on that gap. Terminal Velocity got into a little bit of trouble. He's too far behind as of right now. Will it come down to the final turn? If there's a big mistake from Bob and Tom, Terminal Velocity can take it. But Bob and Tom is going to be smooth up and over the triple. Bob and Tom taking the win in our final race semifinal race of the first round. Bob and Tom grabs that semifinal spot in round 2. And we're looking for our next race of the night. Look at the stoppie from Terminal Velocity. It's unfortunate, but he will be back and he will have another attempt to take a win here. Hopefully, at least. Next up on the track, the namesake of this of the Spin Master Showdown track design here. Gunslinger on your right and Blue Thunder on your left. Gunslinger is an original V4 truck, but some upgraded tires and rims on that thing, some new axles, and that thing is looking brand new. And he is trying to make a mark here on Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder getting a slap wheelie there, gonna come up short on that landing, getting into some trouble in the first turn. Gunslinger has a shot to take it all here in the first round. Nice solid gap on Blue Thunder. If that's what if you're rooting for Gunslinger, you gotta be happy on this one. Coming around, first one out to the double roller here is Gunslinger. Nice little downside, pops it up big time, gets back down. Blue Thunder getting into trouble, manages to keep it down on all fours though and get it under control with such a small room for error, really. Heading up over the bridge, Blue Thunder looking to make up some ground here. Gunslinger looking for a transfer potentially. No, he's going to go easy here. Blue Thunder's looking for the transfer though. Beautifully done. Does get close to the wall, taps it just a bit. Gunslinger already down, headed for the gap. Will he take that chance and attempt to clear it? We'll see here. No, he's going to long to low. And Blue Thunder's doing the same. That is going to hurt for time on Blue Thunder's end. Doing the exact same thing. That is already a slower approach than just trying to gap it. We'll see how it affects him here as we come to the final turn. Gunslinger holding that lead from Blue Thunder. And yeah, it's gonna be Gunslinger up and over the triple and taking on that finish line. First one there. Gunslinger advances and takes that final spot in round 2. And in just a second here, we're gonna take a look at our bracket for round 2 and get a look at our first advancements here. Nicely done. Excellent racing from everybody. Sly Cooper is going to be taking on Sonic Heroes. Shock Therapy is going to be taking on Rage. Axe is going to take on Saigon Shaker. Bob and Tom will take on Gunslinger. And this is going to be an incredible round for racing, really. And I couldn't be more excited to get down into it as our first set of trucks are coming out onto the track here. Sly Cooper on your right, taking on Sonic Heroes on your left. 2 video game themed trucks here. And we got Green launching off that starting line and heading down to... Oh, look at this. Sonic Heroes getting into trouble, tapping those front wheels at the perfect time. Wow. Sly Cooper looking for a perfect landing here. Both of them get it. Nailed it. Sonic Heroes really close to those dumpsters. Could have gotten into some trouble there, but keeps them clean. Heading into the slalom here. Sly Cooper holding on to that lead just enough. Sonic Heroes making up some ground though. Look at this. Sonic Heroes might get there first. No, it's still Sly Cooper, but it is close between the two. Heading on to starting elevation. Sonic Heroes does get a smoother landing there. Sly Cooper just holding on to that lead. Up on the bridge, getting into some trouble. Both trucks in trouble. Adding some time onto both of their passes there. Just like equal. They're in the exact same position as they were before. Sly Cooper hard hit on the roof, and they are going to shut him off for that one. Sonic Heroes is going to be moving on to round 2 if he can just complete his pass here. Going for the gap again. Getting in trouble on the nose, but saves it. Just barely. Once again, those front tires coming in clutch here in the Spin Master Showdown. Heading around this final turn, Sonic Heroes looking good, looking solid. He could very well be our very first Spin Master Showdown qualifier into Season 2. But we still got a whole bunch of races to come here as we head into the second half of round 2 here. Man, that thing sounds great. Next up on the track, Shock Therapy is going to be taking on Rage. And this is going to be an incredible race here. Both of these trucks, absolute masters on the track. And not necessarily this track, but tracks as a whole. Both of these trucks just drive incredible. Up and over that jammer. Shock Therapy getting a much better landing. I shouldn't say much better, a better landing. Rage gets into some trouble there on the landing of the gap. Shock Therapy, nice, small, but nice lead. Rage makes up some ground there. Shock Therapy sliding too deep into that first slalom. Heading around the pits of disqualification. Rage up and over the double. Oh man, rough landing there. Shock Therapy makes it over the double rollers and back up onto starting elevation. He is behind still though. Nicely done over the bridge. Rage clipping that center divide once again. Getting into trouble with that concrete. Shock Therapy coming up short for the transfer. That is going to hurt his time with Rage getting such a beautiful transfer going into it. Amsoil Shock Therapy really looking to get qualified this season. See if he can do it. He is going to gap it once again. Hard hit on the front end. That hurt big time, and that's what I'm talking about with smacking that front face. It hurts, and it'll hurt your time. It'll hurt your truck, so you really got to be careful. Rage heading into this final turn, already too much of a gap for Shock Therapy to come back. Rage moves on to the semifinals. Man, unfortunate for sure. Amsoil Shock Therapy hopefully will get another shot soon to qualify, but we have a potential for a lot of trucks to get a shot here. So that wheel is going to get full, and we're going to have a good what's the word? A good diverse field of potential trucks. Next up on the track, though, Saigon Shaker coming out on your left, as well as Axe. Now remember, these trucks are trying to make it into Season 2 as a main field competitor. If you guys want to leave requests for trucks that you want to see as substitutes for next season, be sure to leave those in the comments. But for now, we're looking for main field competitors. Saigon Shaker and Axe going at it. Saigon getting a better landing there, but Axe is no slouch at all. Not a bad landing at all. Heading into the slalom, it is neck and neck. Axe might have oversteered just a little bit there. Trying to put it back down. We'll see who comes into the double rollers first. Saigon Shaker just a little bit of a lead, super slight. Axe getting a little crooked there in the wrong direction. That is going to lengthen his turn just a little bit. And that hurts, man. That hurts your time. Any little bit hurts your time. Saigon Shaker looking good over the cars. Axe getting crooked. And there's another Team Scream truck bouncing into the center divide there on the bridge. Saigon Shaker getting completely sideways in the tunnel, managing to pull it back. Once again, having a lot of trouble in the tunnel and off of those rollers in the bottom floor. Axe looking to come back here if he can, trying to gap it. Nicely done, does manage to do well, but he is too far back, it seems, unless there's a big slip here from Saigon Shaker. Axe is done for tonight. Through the final turn, Saigon Shaker just barely touching those crush cars, those turning cars. Heading up and over the triple for Axe, but it's Saigon Shaker moving on to the semifinals. Axe is done for tonight. No more Spin Master Showdown for now. We'll see him come back hopefully soon. Saigon Shaker doing well. Needs to get that tunnel and that speed bump reaction under control here. Bob and Tom on your right now, and Gunslinger on your left. Both of them surprising me personally in round one. Heading up and over this step up here. Bob and Tom clipping that step up just a little bit on the downside this time. Look at that perfect landing on the backside of the jammer. And a beautiful downside on the gap for both trucks. Gunslinger looking to knock out Bob and Tom, who really excelled last time around in round one here. Bob and Tom, the only truck to really completely clear, and beautifully clear, I might add, that gap on the bottom floor. Looking to do it again and potentially knock out Gunslinger if he can. Gunslinger looking for a downside on the double rollers, gets it perfect. And that's how you get back up onto starting elevation, but we have a big gap between the two, but Bob and Tom struggles in that turn. Nearly neck and neck here now. Bob and Tom getting into trouble on that center divide. Gunslinger gains the lead here, heading into the tunnel. Looking for a transfer, coming up short once again. Bob and Tom getting tripped up big time there. A lot better performance through the tunnel than his last round though. Heading up and over this massive roller here. Going for the gap. Gunslinger coming up short. Bob and Tom using his tactic to his advantage. He does come up just a little short this time, but still beautifully done. It makes up a little bit of ground on Gunslinger as they are neck and neck heading down this semifinal straight. Into the final turn. It is close here. Gunslinger is right there with Bob and Tom. Bob and Tom is right there with Gunslinger. Really neck and neck here. Oh, but it is Gunslinger barely pulling it out at the end. Just managing to get it done, and he will move on to the semifinals. Let's take a look at this bracket here. Sonic Heroes will be taking on Rage, and Saigon Shaker will take on Gunslinger. Saigon Shaker really needs to get those gremlins under control, as well as Rage. Rage has been struggling up on the bridge all night. Really needs to pull himself together if he wants to make it to the finals and get a potential spot in Season 2 here this time. Sonic Heroes pulling up to the line. Rage staged and ready to go, and we're going green. First step up of round 3, the semifinals here. Sonic Heroes looking good up and over. That slap wheelie might hurt just a little bit. You do have to ease up to let that down. He does come up short on that massive gap. Rage, a nice lead on Sonic Heroes heading into the slalom. Rage beautifully done through the slalom. Really great at drifting through these tight turns here. Sonic Heroes doing well, but just not making up any time at all. Sonic Heroes looking to do better up and onto starting elevation this time. Out way wide in that turn. That is going to hurt just a bit. Rage up onto the bridge, trying to keep clear of that center divide, and he does this time. Nicely done. Sonic Heroes looking to make up some time, though. Big gap between the two of them. Sonic Heroes coming up short there. That hurts his time even more. Rage, beautifully done. He might take our first spot in the final round. We'll see how it goes as we get down to these final couple of turns. Rage going big on the gap. Getting up on the front end, but pulling it back down. Sonic Heroes going long to low this time, trying to reduce risk of ending up upside down and not getting a chance to cross that finish line. Rage looking to pull off this final turn here. Nicely done, and I think it's going to be Rage. Sonic Heroes, rough final turn. It is. Rage makes it over the finish line, grabbing our first spot in the final round. Sonic Heroes just not enough tonight. He will potentially be back to try to get a spot at some point this season. We'll see if he can do so, hopefully. Nice race from Rage. Next up on the track, though, Saigon Shaker on your right, taking on Gunslinger. This is set to be a race, I can tell you that much. Saigon Shaker, first time in that right lane tonight, in the red lane. We'll see if that helps or hurts him here. Maybe he can get through the rollers on the second floor a bit better. Gunslinger is going to have trouble on the landing, though, keeping it together. Nicely done. Saigon Shaker first one to the pits of disqualification, though. Nicely done. Both of them looking good. Gunslinger even makes up some ground here through the slalom, heading up and over these double rollers. Both of them struggling a little bit. Gunslinger a little worse off. Saigon really looking to get into that final round. I mean, everyone's going hard out here. You really have to if you want to make it into Season 2. You got to beat everybody on this track. And it's a tough track. Saigon first one to the tunnels. Gunslinger a big gap. Oh, Saigon getting in trouble. Rolls it in the tunnel. Rough roll for sure. They're going to have to check on him. But Gunslinger is free and clear to take a win here if he can just cross that finish line. Taking it nice and easy. He must have heard that Saigon Shaker had a rough hit in the tunnel. Kind of cutting that corner a little bit, but we don't penalize him any for that. Heading into this final turn for Gunslinger. Just a practice run on the bottom floor at this point. Nicely done over the triple. And up and over the finish line, Gunslinger grabs that final spot in the final round. That means it's Rage versus Gunslinger. Team Scream versus Mr. Cocklocked and Ready to Rock himself. Rage versus Gunslinger for your final round. It's between these two to take the first official qualifying spot in the world, and not in the World Finals, in Season 2. These two are fighting to earn their spot as the fourth main field qualifier. We're getting started already. Gunslinger pulling it tight to that step up. A little bit of a lead on Rage, but Rage gets a better landing there. Nicely done from Rage. Gunslinger with another awkward landing. This is hurting him big time in the final round. That is not what you want to do by any means. Rage looking good, looking consistent. If he can keep it off that center divide, he really has a shot in this final round. Heading up to this double roller here. Rage just misses the downside. Gunslinger trying to get it. Rage goes over. Rage gets into trouble against the dumpsters, getting back up to starting elevation. And it is Gunslinger who will be making it into Season 2 if he can cross the finish line. Gunslinger up and over the bridge. Beautiful transfer there. A little bit of a wheelie, getting crooked. Little squirrely, but holding it together. Ooh. Rough hit there. Surprised they didn't shut him off, but he's still running. Through the rollers and heading to the gap. Can he clear it? Oh, he does! One of the better landings as well. What a jump there from one of the OG V4s here. And he's struggling a little bit. No one to go against and still struggling. But I mean, hey, he earned his shot. He did win fair and square on a couple of these other races. Rage just couldn't hold up in the final round. Gunslinger will be crossing this finish line and taking that fourth qualifying spot into the main field of Season 2. Gunslinger is one of our Season 2 competitors. Look at the stoppie. Wow, what a night of racing here. And this is just the first event of the night. We still got one more to come. 16 more trucks coming up in just a second in this video, so stick around. You do not want to miss it. It is going to be insane. We got a whole new group of trucks, and they're going to battle it out looking for that fifth qualifying spot into Season 2. They're all going head-to-head, and they're all going hard, and you really have to. This just goes to show how hard you got to go. And here's a look at our lineup right here. We're going to shuffle these competitors up, and then we're going to take a look at our bracket for the second event tonight. One more look at your racing winner here and your fourth qualifier into Season 2. Gunslinger throws down at the Spin Master Showdown, and it pays off, making it into Season 2. Now let's take a look at our bracket here for the second event of the night. AmeriQuest Freedom is going to take on Gravedigger Fire. Hooligan will take on Medusa, No Problem, versus Shadow the Hedgehog. Cheesiest Machine will take on Iron Man. Hoonzilla will take on Thunder Roris. Overkill Evolution will take on Jester. Blacksmith is going to take on Incinerator, and Super Mario will face off against Kraken. And there's a couple familiar faces in this one as well. So it's going to be cool to see if we can get any returning competitors from last season. AmeriQuest Freedom coming up on your right, and Gravedigger will be on your left. AmeriQuest Freedom is a werewolf node beam truck. Is breakable. We do have the whoa, why am I struggling? We do have the potential to have werewolf and other breakable type trucks in the season. They do have to qualify like everybody else though, and this is a tough track, so these trucks will get broken if they do not be careful. Gravedigger getting into some trouble there, and they're pretty neck and neck for a werewolf versus a V4. Gravedigger airing it out, nicely done, clearing it. Werewolf, AmeriQuest over there getting a nice downside as well. Not the cleanest, but solid. Gravedigger first one getting into the slalom. Ameriquest Freedom holding up nice though. This is the first time we've seen either one of these two trucks. Obviously we've seen Gravedigger before, but Gravedigger Fire we have not seen on this channel, as well as Ameriquest Freedom. Looking to throw down here in the Spin Master Showdown, looking to grab a Season 2 spot. Can he earn it by knocking out Gravedigger first, the biggest name in Monster Jam, one of the biggest names in Monster Jam. Heading up and over the bridge, Ameriquest Freedom starts building a gap behind Gravedigger. Gravedigger looking solid, coming, really checking up on those brakes going into the tunnel. Ameriquest Freedom rocking all over the place. Through the rollers there. Both of them kind of struggling a little bit. Gravedigger still in that lead. Ameriquest Freedom gonna have to go long to low here. He does not have the speed, or the acceleration I should say, to really clear that gap. You're gonna have to come up short with those werewolf trucks, or you will break and you just wasted a run, wasted an attempt. Gravedigger nice and tight around that final turn. Ameriquest Freedom really slapping that truck around. It's not going to happen for him. Gravedigger Fire is going to be heading into round 2 tonight. And Ameriquest Freedom, solid effort, not too far behind. Just struggling a little bit with getting that truck under control. A lot of bouncing. But I mean, it's an older truck as well. So, I mean, there's some suspension stuff that comes into play with that. I totally get it. But Gravedigger Fire advances to round 2. Medusa is here to throw down and try to get back into the main field competitors. Hooligan is also here. First time we've seen him in an event. He's looking to throw down and grab a top spot as well. Now, Medusa was our tour champion on the Throwback Tour. Absolutely killed it, facing off against her rival Zombie all season. She's looking to do it again. Medusa getting into trouble already. Now, this is a different version of Medusa than the one we had on the RORSRPS season last season, but it's still unfortunate to see her not doing too well. Hooligan looking solid through the slalom here. Medusa getting up on 2 wheels again. It's really rough. Hooligan, what is going on? Medusa makes up some ground heading up to starting elevation. Does waste a little bit of time, but Hooligan is in trouble as well. Now they're neck and neck heading onto the bridge. Medusa trying to widen that gap a little bit. We'll see if she can make it into round 2 in just a minute here. They're fighting for that first place position right now. Going into the tunnel, Medusa looking for the transfer. Beautifully done. She is going to tap the wall and get spun around there. Hooligan grabs the lead. Hooligan gets in trouble. Oh! Tapping that fence. Fans getting scared there. Luckily, we got these holographic fans here at the Spin Master Showdown. No one will get hurt if they do go through that fence, but you still want to keep it on the track. You are not going to get to come back if you end up in the crowd. You will be able to get another attempt. Clarification, you will be able to get another attempt, but you will not be able to come back onto the track in the same event. Hooligan grabbing that first place position just like he wanted to, heading to the line. It is Hooligan taking the win and advancing to round 2. After all my stumbling over my words, it is still Hooligan grabbing that first place spot and the advancement into the next round. Medusa, unfortunate. One of our better trucks from the last season, one of our tour champions, just unable to do good here tonight. Next up on the track, another first, no problem, taking on Shadow the Hedgehog. 2 brand new trucks to the channel, looking to throw down here tonight and really make a name for themselves in the RORSRPS season. Heading to that step up. Wow, Shadow the Hedgehog, beautifully done. Up and over that step up. A bit too high there with the nose, but manages to pull it out. No problem having to come up short there. It's not looking good for him already. Wasting a lot of time with that approach to the gap. But I mean, if you're squirrely, you got to do what you got to do. And there is a lot of race to come. You do have an opportunity to come back, as I said before. But It's unfortunate he's struggling right now. Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog up and over that double roller, no problem, following right behind, really trying to make up some ground if he can. Looking solid aside from that mistake already, but we gotta catch up a little bit here. Shadow looking good, heading down onto the bridge, heading for the tunnel. Coming up a little, solid transfer. No problem coming up a little short, does tap the nose on the on the roof of the tunnel. Wow, Shadow the Hedgehog really killing it on that right side, left side, excuse me, no problem on the right side, getting into trouble. Once again, this run has been nothing but problems for no problem. Really trying to gather that truck up, but it's not gonna help unless there's a big slip from Shadow, and there is not. Shadow the Hedgehog is gonna be advancing into round 2, making a great name for himself on his first appearance on the channel. No problem struggling here. We'll see if he can come back another time and do a little better, maybe get into round 2. Shadow celebration there with that stoppie. Beautifully done. Getting it stopped right before the dumpster. Next up on the track though, Cheesiest Machine over there on the right. And Iron Man on your left. Iron Man, another one of our Werewolf node beam trucks, looking to throw down here and make a name for himself and make a name for the Werewolf community as well. Personally, I do struggle driving with them, so we'll see if they can do well and make it into the season. We'll see if we can do better than El Toro did last time. Cheesiest Machine getting a nice downside, absolutely launching across that gap. Iron Man getting into trouble. Into the slaloms, of course, Cheesiest leads, but Iron Man does have a shot to make up some ground if he can. And he is. Look at this. Iron Man coming back a little bit, just closing that gap a little bit, not quite, caught up, but closing the gap. And that's all you need to do. Oh, no. Iron Man rolls the truck over, and that is going to do it. Iron Man is done. Cheesiest Machine is free and clear to take a win. If he can get across that finish line, that is unfortunate for Iron Man, for sure. We'll see if he can come back and do better soon here, but that hurts. I love that old-fashioned Iron Man, man. Man, if you guys are enjoying tonight's show so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of these to go through. If you are enjoying this, you are going to enjoy the others. We're getting ready for Season 2, and when Season 2 rolls around, we got 3 all-new tours, and we'll have 48 competitors this time, whereas last season, we had 36 competitors. Yes, 12 times 3. I know math. Cheesiest Machine heading over the triple, getting into some trouble. Crooked there. And over the finish line, Cheesiest Machine will be advancing to round 2. But yeah, this season is going to be insane, guys. We got 3 all-new tours, like I said. We got the biggest and baddest tour. We got the All-Star Challenge Tour, a whole season of 2 teams going head-to-head. And, of course, we got the Indy Madness brand new tour just to explore some of the Indy tracks, man. We got a lot of Monster Jam last season, not too many cars aside from our throwback tour. So we are doing the Indy Madness tour to get some of that good old-fashioned car-crushing fun with the independent tour tracks that we have available to us in Rigs of Rods. But look at this, Thunder Roar is coming out on your left and Hoonzilla on your right, 2 trucks that did face off in the final show of the season last season, the Hoonigan show in San Diego, round 10 on that on the Sponsor Showdown tour. And it was these 2 actually faced off in racing, if I remember correctly. And they're going hard. Here's Hoonzilla clipping the dumpster this time in the starting elevation turn. Unfortunate for sure, but Hoonzilla is fast and can absolutely launch that truck. So if anyone's going to catch up to Thunder Roars, I believe that he could do it, although that is a pretty massive gap between the 2. Goonzilla looking for a solid transfer. Nicely done into the tunnel, keeping it under control as we head into these rollers there. Thunder Roarus looking for a solid gap, getting into trouble though. This is Goonzilla's a chance right here. Beautifully done, another clear. We have completely cleared it once again. Goonzilla clips the car, goes over into the car, and that is gonna do it. Thunder Roarus will be moving on to round 2, knocking out Goonzilla. Wow. No, I can't even say that. Thunder Roarus manages to get one step closer to once again qualifying into the season, into the main field. Good for him. Next up on the track, another matchup that faced off last season. Last season, Jester, with his blue paint scheme, was featured as a substitute on the Custom Chaos Tour, where Overkill Evolution was a main field competitor, and they faced off actually in the Star Spangled Spectacular Tour event. Not tour, the Star Spangled Spectacular event. They're facing off here in the Spin Master Showdown track, looking to get qualified into Season 2. And it's Overkill Evolution in the lead right now. Overkill Evolution come just short of a World Finals qualification last season. Soldier Fortune managed to grab his spot by passing him up by, I believe, only 4 points, 4 season points. So he really wants to come back and throw down and prove that he can make it into the World Finals. We'll see if he can come across the line first here in round 1. Jester is behind now, but we've seen some comeback stories, especially from some mistakes of the leaders. Get a little cocky when you're in the front. You don't want to do that. You want to keep a cool head. Look at this, Overkill Evolution, beautiful transfer, one of the best, but he is getting into some trouble. Manages to keep it down on all 4 BKTs though. Overkill Evolution getting it done here. Jester really trying to make up some ground. It's Overkill Evolution shooting the gap, getting in trouble though. Jester a hard hit on that front end. Gets into trouble in the turn, goes over. And that is gonna do it. Jester is down in the corner. Overkill Evolution will have a shot at this win here as he bounces off the wall. That's a rough move there, but he's heading for the line. Overkill Evolution manages to pull it off here in round 1, knocking out one of his opponents from season 1. And look at the celebration, Stoppy, for making it back once again. We'll see if he can make the cut for season 2, if he'll be our 5th qualifier in just a minute. Next up on the track though, Blacksmith is coming out on your right. First time we are seeing him on this channel. Incinerator on your left. First time we're seeing him as well. And they're facing off head to head, up and over that step up. Both trucks just absolutely clearing it. Looking for a downside there. Blacksmith a little crooked. Both of them getting nice landings though, looking for a downside on the gap. Neither one of them getting it. Incinerator really struggling here. Heading into the slaloms, it is still neck and neck. Both trucks struggling just nearly the exact same amount so far, just in different ways. Blacksmith coming out of it first. Looking for a downside, nicely done. Incinerator struggling on that downside just a bit. Does clip the top of the jump, but he's not too far behind. He can make up some ground if he can have a solid rest of his pass. Up on the bridge, Blacksmith looking solid. Looking for the transfer. Can he get it? Oh my goodness, beautifully done. Does nearly gets a little too close to the wall. Incinerator does get too close to the wall. Incinerator clips it big time, and that is going to hurt his lap for sure. Blacksmith looking to clear it. Hard hit, getting into trouble, but keeps it down on all 4s. Luckily, somehow managing to get it back down, as Incinerator is getting into trouble as well. Gets it saved though, nicely done. No! Incinerator goes down, not like he really had the greatest shot at a win anyways, but Blacksmith will be free and clear to grab a round 2 qualification here. Wow. Blacksmith advances on into round 2. Incinerator down for the count in that semifinal turn. Look at this. Nicely done. The classics showing out with these new school moves, man. Killing it. Next up on the track is going to be Super Mario. On your right, taking on Kraken, will be on your left. Kraken, another truck appearing back after being a substitute last season. All new paint scheme this time, though. Super Mario, first time we've seen him on this channel. We'll see how they do here on the Spin Master Showdown track. Kraken a little crooked. Super Mario going for it. Both of them airing those trucks out. Super Mario goes into the crowd. Oh my goodness. He is done for sure. Kraken just needs to get across that finish line without any problems. That is unfortunate, but it's a good thing. Like I mentioned earlier, we got that magic holographic crowd here at the Spin Master Showdown track. Unfortunate break for Super Mario. He may be back soon to get another attempt at qualifying, but we'll see if the wheel lands on him. Kraken looking to throw down a solid pass. This is just practice at this point here in the final race of round 1. Up and over through the bridge, looking solid. Nicely done. Looking for a transfer here, coming up a little short, but keeping it controlled, trying to center that truck in the tunnel. You don't really want to get too close to those walls. Might get sucked in a little bit. Kraken up and over that roller, looking to clear it. Can he make it? Oh, he does make it, but he's really got to be perfect through that straightaway leading up to the jump. Come up a little any shorter and you're in trouble in your next pass. So it's a good thing he gets a practice pass out of the way without being, too fearful of taking a loss. Heading up and over the triple. Kraken will be heading into round 2, getting squirrely in that final straightaway. Nicely done. Solid pass from Kraken. Minimal mistakes there. We'll see if he can improve next round. Let's take a look at our racing bracket for round 2, speaking of the next round, and see who's facing off. First up, we got Gravedigger taking on Hooligan. That's going to be an interesting race as Shadow the Hedgehog takes on Cheesiest Machine. Thunder Roris will take on Overkill Evolution, and Blacksmith will take on Kraken. Now, Thunder Roris and Overkill Evolution were both in our season last season. We're both in our main field last season, but they never faced off. They had a shot in the World Finals, but Overkill Evolution managed to lose by 4 points to Soldier Fortune, so he wasn't able to qualify for the World Finals. But we'll get back to the current racing now. Gravedigger on your right, Hooligan on your left, and we're going green. Hooligan quite a bit slower than Gravedigger for that step up, but they are neck and neck up and over the jammer. Gravedigger getting tripped up a little bit. Gravedigger with a beautiful downside. Hooligan getting into trouble, trying to get stopped before the dumpster, and he does. But that hurts his time big time. That is going to be a rough mistake to recover from with the Gravedigger team on as your opponent, Heading through the slaloms, looking for the double roller for Gravedigger. Beautifully done. Hooligan also getting a solid double roller, but clips the top, gets into trouble with the dumpster there. Just having a rough pass, and there's another clip on that dumpster for Hooligan. Gravedigger may be free and clear to grab a win. He needs to hold it together and not make any more mistakes. Looking for the transfer there. Beautifully done. One of the most perfect transfers we've seen so far. And this is only event 2. I can only imagine how racing is gonna get. Hooligan hits the top of the tunnel. That hurts big time, and he is done. Wow. Gravedigger coming close to falling off the edge there, manages to get it together. Hooligan, unfortunate for sure, man. That is one of the hardest hits we've seen so far, aside from Sly Cooper's big hit on the roof in the tunnel. Gravedigger heading up and over that triple, looking for the finish line, and there it is. Up and over. Gravedigger advances to the semifinals. I almost said round 3, but I keep saying that. It's the semifinals. Great race from Gravedigger. Really minimal mistakes once again, similar to Kraken. Maybe even better than Kraken. Cheesiest Machine on your left now, taking on Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow, but I mean, both of them had great passes in round 1. Shadow the Hedgehog may have a slight advantage here. We'll see how it goes down as they head up and over the step up. That looked really sketchy on Shadow's side, but we'll see how it goes here. Cheesiest has a lead up and over the gap. Both of them getting great landings though. Shadow out wider than Cheesiest in the first turn. We'll see if Cheesiest can hold this lead through the slalom. Shadow out wide once again. Just having a really wide race so far. Nearly clips that column from the bridge support. Cheesiest getting tripped up. So is Shadow though, but Shadow takes it tighter. It's really neck and neck. Cheesiest does have a lead here, but it's neck and neck up onto the bridge and over the cars. It could go either way from this point. Shadow bobbles on the bridge, gets tossed sideways, loses a bit of time there. Wow, look at these two down into the tunnel. Cheesiest, a nice gap on Shadow. Looking for the gap. Cheesiest trying to clear it. Cheesiest gets in trouble. Manages to get a perfect save. He does struggle a little bit getting back on the gas, but the truck was turned where he needed to go. So good for him, heading up and over the racing lane once again. And through that final turn, it is Cheesiest Machine who will be taking the win. Up and over. Oh, getting into some trouble. Maybe it's Shadow. No, too big of a gap, and it is Cheesiest Machine taking the win here from Shadow, even with a massive mistake in the final straight. I mean, we haven't seen anybody get that squirrely in that final, in that triple yet at all until right now. Next up on the track, though, Overkill Evolution coming out on the left. And Thunder Roars coming out on your right again. Like I said, these two had potential to face off in the World Finals, but Overkill was unable to get that spot. Will he be able to grab the main field from Thunder Roars this time? We'll see. Heading down, Overkill Evolution really clearing that step up. Overkill tapping it on the way down. I mean, Thunder Roars tapping it on the way down. Thunder Roars gets a better transfer there. Look at that. Overkill getting in trouble. Getting it stopped before the dumpster, but they did shut him off just a little bit there. Let him refire really quickly, but I mean, that is going to hurt his time no matter what. Thunder Roars looking good through the slalom. No! Loses some ground there after losing the rear end. Overkill Evolution still behind with a good gap on him, but he has a better shot at coming back now than before Thunder Roars had that big slip. Overkill Evolution really trying to make up some ground with that turn. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but Thunder Roars gets into trouble on the bridge as well. Overkill Evolution is hoping that Thunder Roars can hear him coming right now. He's looking for that intimidation factor, really trying to push his luck here and get into that semifinal round. Getting crooked in that dip, though. Might hurt. Thunder Roars looking for the gap, comes up short. So does Overkill Evolution, but he uses that long to low approach, trying to make up a little bit of ground once again. Through the turn, it is Thunder Roars coming out of the chicane in the lead. But this final turn could cause problems. We did see Overkill Evolution tap the wall. Could be Thunder Roars this time, but it's not. Thunder Roars heads up and over the triple, and Thunder Roars will be moving on to the semifinals, knocking out Overkill Evolution. Wow. Solid pass from Thunder Roars. Did have a mistake or two in there, but was able to hold that gap the entire race. Solid. Solid. Kraken's coming out next on your left, and he is taking on Blacksmith. And this is going to be an interesting race. We have not seen either of these two face off against each other last season at all, ever, on this channel. Blacksmith, brand new to the channel. So we'll see how they do here. Neck and neck heading into the jammer. Beautifully done from Blacksmith. Kraken looking decent, but gets real squirrely. Having to go, yeah, that's going to hurt his time big time, especially with that sky wheelie on the back end of it. Through the slalom, Blacksmith. I'm curious to see if that long truck, because that thing is essentially a limo. That thing is long, man. And I'm curious to see if that, you know, plays a factor here in how these trucks handle that slalom, if it's better for the longer trucks or the shorter wheelbase trucks. Blacksmith looks to be killing Kraken right now. I mean, unless there's a big mistake on Blacksmith's end, Kraken is going to be struggling to make up some ground. Heading into the tunnel now. Blacksmith is going to shorten up just a little bit. Was crooked. Uh-oh. Manages to get back down on all fours. Still struggling through the tunnel, but manages to get back on all fours. Kraken still struggling to get caught up to Blacksmith. Looking for the gap. Blacksmith trying to clear it. Narrowly does it. I mean, essentially clears it. Does kind of clip the corner of that ramp a little hard, but I mean, didn't really hurt him too bad. Kraken still behind, and it's gonna be Blacksmith if he can pull around this turn quickly. There it is, Blacksmith heading up and over the triple to finish out round 2. Blacksmith advances to the semifinals. What a race between the two. Just too many mistakes on Kraken's side. I would have thought that practice lap with, you know, little to no pressure would have been, you know, something to set them apart, but ended up in the loser pile tonight. Gravedigger is going to be taking on Cheesiest Machine in the semifinals, and Thunder Roris will take on Blacksmith as well. And this is interesting here. Two newer / custom trucks and two established names in Monster Jam's roster here. Gravedigger on your right and Cheesiest Machine on your left, going head to head here to kick off the semifinals. We're going green. Nicely done. Headed up and over that step up. Head to head, I mean neck and neck here. Look at this. They're both going to get beautiful leaps across that gap. Cheesiest comes up short somehow. Gravedigger looking for a win here. They are still neck and neck. This could be a tight race the entire time. Both of these trucks have been on fire tonight. No pun intended with Gravedigger fire. Heading around that final slalom, it is still neck and neck. Cheesiest a very slight lead on Gravedigger, but Gravedigger has a better downside on the double roller. Wow. Cheesiest just losing that back end a little bit. Gravedigger manages to get the power down first and has a bit of a lead on Cheesiest as Cheesiest drives over that center divide. Interesting way to tackle those cars. Nicely done. Another beautiful transfer from Gravedigger as Cheesiest bounces off the wall in the tunnel. Only hit the tire, so he's going to keep running, but Gravedigger just widens that gap on Cheesiest. That could hurt. Oh no! Gravedigger completely misses the turn. Oh, Cheesy is getting into trouble now and rolls it into the cars, and that is going to be it for Cheesiest Machine. Cheesiest is down, and Gravedigger is headed to the finish line. Around that final turn after a big mistake in the semifinal turn, managing to gather it back up and hold it together longer than Cheesiest, and he will advance to the final round. Could he be our first Gravedigger qualified into Season 2? I almost said assigned to Season 2, but he would qualify. He would earn his spot in Season 2. Next out on the track, though, Thunder Roris is going to take on Blacksmith. And this is going to be an interesting race. I believe Blacksmith, this is his first time in that left lane. We'll see if he can, if it switches things up and hurts him for Thunder RORS. Neck and neck here, up and over the jammer. Blacksmith going for that beautiful arc, but Thunder RORS gets it as well. Blacksmith a little squirrely there in that first straightaway, comes close to that dumpster, doesn't clip it. Gets real close though. They're still neck and neck. Thunder RORS seems to have a slight lead. Blacksmith managing to make up some ground and really make it his own in the slalom, and it seems like the longer wheelbase helps a lot. Up and over the double roller there. Thunder RORS getting into trouble. Blacksmith pulls it off beautifully, and both trucks make it back up to starting elevation at the same time. So we'll see if Blacksmith can hold on to that lead or if Thunder RORS is coming back. Blacksmith does clip that center divide. Thunder RORS getting into trouble. See, that's another thing. When you're behind, you got to push it, and that could get you into some risky situations as well. Thunder RORS, a beautiful transfer there. Little squirrely through the tunnel, but manages to get it, I mean, pretty fast through there. Solid transfer. Blacksmith pulls off a beautiful leap, clears it. Thunder RORS gets a nice attempt, but does not have the same juice that Blacksmith does. Absolutely launching over that gap. Blacksmith is heading through the final turn in front of Thunder RORS. He will be our next spot in the final round. Blacksmith takes the next advancement to the final round, and our final placement in the final round as well, taking on Gravedigger Fire. So it's either Gravedigger or Blacksmith advancing to the finals tonight. Wow. Either way, I'm excited to see who's gonna make it to the main field. Wow, I really can't talk today. I'm really excited to see who's gonna make it in the main field of season 2 with Gravedigger versus Blacksmith on the line here. Either one of them could take it. I mean, both of them have been killing it tonight. Absolutely. And Gravedigger just had an insane pass. And Blacksmith, something that's really important is clearing that bottom floor gap. If you can do that, you have such an advantage on the competition. And Blacksmith has been able to do that either nearly or completely these past couple rounds here. Blacksmith is on your left once again. Gravedigger on your right once again. We'll see who can come out on top in your final race of the night. Up and over the jammer. Both trucks close. Gravedigger getting a better landing. Nicely done with the downside. Blacksmith getting into trouble. Not looking good for Blacksmith here in the first turn. We got a long race ahead of us. Gravedigger heading into the slalom, really trying to throw that truck in and get it spun around for each turn. Blacksmith really just chilling, and he is killing it in those slaloms. Another huge advantage on the competition. Blacksmith looking to pull it nice and tight around that turn. It is neck and neck. Gravedigger a slight lead, but when they're this close, it could go either way. One mistake on either side, and it really, really makes a difference. Heading back down to the floor, looking for a transfer into the tunnel. Both trucks going for it. Gravedigger, not the usual perfection that we've seen from him. Blacksmith gets a perfect one, but Gravedigger bounces off the wall. Blacksmith has the shot of a lifetime here if he can make it into to the finish line in first. Looking for the gap, beautifully done. Once again, clears it. Gravedigger trying to clear it, but unable to, and rolls the truck over. Gets the save, but is not going to save the run. Blacksmith is going to be your next qualifier into Season 2, taking our 5th spot. That means it's Megalodon Fire, Son of a Digger, Avenger, Gunslinger, and Blacksmith taking that final spot taking that final spot of the night into Season 2. What a race from Blacksmith. What a night of racing from Blacksmith. What a night of racing for everybody. It's been a lot of fun. Please, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's show. We have season 2 coming soon. Once we're qualified, that is it. We got everybody, and I'm trying to rapid fire these things out and get through the qualifying. So so we can get into the season and throw down, because I'm excited for season 2. I'm ahead on qualifications. I know who's gonna win. I'm not gonna tell you, but I know who's in season 2 already, and I am excited to get into it. But our substitutes are not chosen yet, so if you have any ideas for substitutes that you want to see make it into season 2, let me know in the comments. I no guarantee I'll use them, but I will check them out. I will listen, and I will hear what you have to say. It's been a lot of fun. Blacksmith, number 5 in the qualifying roster. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon for episode 2.